It's pretty good. Now, the question is, who's a better guitar player, Prince or Tom Araya or Kerry King?
I'm going Prince.
Yeah, boy, he was good.
He was great.
He was really, really good.
He was incredible at like a very young age. I just saw an interview when he was 19 years old, and I think he was on Soul Train or something, some old show, and just the confidence and he was getting interviewed, and they're like, "What instrument does he play, or do you play?" And he goes, "All of them." He's like, "Which are you best at?" He goes, "Same." Like he's just a true genius when it comes to music.
Yeah. So, yeah. Those Slayer guys are still really rich, too. They never have to tour again. They're fine. Some bands, boy, if you made your money back in the day, if you were, I don't envy bands that are getting going now. Not only is the business so different, but it's just the whole, all of it's different. If you made your money back in the day, you're set. You don't necessarily have to worry about it. Great, on the subject of Prince, great anecdote that I've heard Fred Armisen tell. You know, he was playing Prince on SNL. They would do that Prince show bit. And he talked to Prince at that SNL 40th anniversary thing. And that he didn't want to fanboy on him, but he started kind of chatting Prince up, and he was kind of working in how much he meant to him as an artist and a musician and blah, blah, blah. And he said something along the lines of, you know, just your guitar playing and your artistry are amazing. And Prince said, you know what's really amazing? This mac and cheese. He was eating mac and cheese, and he just went back to eating, and he's like, and I just kind of like walked away, and okay, cool. He's like, he wasn't mean, but I had clearly interrupted his mac and cheese.
Just one of those things where you've heard it so many times, you're just like, yeah, but have you had the mac and cheese?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, this mac
The
and cheese.
cornflakes on top? I mean, come on.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Not frosted flakes, cornflakes, just to make it a
Yeah,
little
no, I got
crunchy.
that. Yeah. Okay. Kerry King, speaking of Slayer, Kerry King is one of the people. I played you a little bit of the trailer the other day. Kerry King is one of the people making an appearance in that Foo Fighters horror movie called Studio 666. Lionel Richie's in it. Whitney Cummings is in it. A lot of other people. Will Forte is in it, and Kerry King from Slayer is in there as well. Alan Cox Show After Hours line. Anytime you just want to drop us a quick message, you can do it. It's available to you anytime. It's 216-986-8903.
Hey, gang, it's Brooke, your former Kosovo bureau chief, checking in again. So I'm a couple days behind. I'm listening to Wednesday's show, and I just have a lot of things to say. First one is Poundcake. You know I love you. I brought you all those snacks from Europe when I lived there. But dude, I'll say it like I did about the credit card. You're almost 30, man. You can fly on a plane by yourself. They tell you to go to gate B27. You follow an arrow that says B, and you know the number 27. Come on, you can totally do it. And I feel like if you do it just once, then the anxiety will go away, and you'll realize it's not that big of a deal. Second,
You should travel with Brooke.
No, Brooke won't travel with him.
What?
Yeah,
He's got to do it
that's
himself.
not her point.
Why don't you? Well,
But what if I have to go to the bathroom and then I get lost?
Cody, that's not
please.
a real concern, is it?
If I go to the bathroom and then I'm supposed to
Do
like...
you think that the bathroom is in another terminal?
do you think that there is one bathroom at an airport?
Like
There's the bathroom.
I could be walking along my trail, and then
Yeah.
there's might be a line for the bathroom, and then I'm waiting, and then I go there, and then I come out, and then I'm like, oh my gosh.
You look up and find the number.
Yeah, there's arrows all over the place.
Everything is labeled every 6 feet.
And you
You
know
can
which.
also ask employees.
You also know which direction you were going when you walked into the men's room. Like you were pointed in a direction. And there's always bathrooms not far from the terminals. Like wherever you are.
Every 100 feet, there's another bathroom.
No, this is a legit concern. Don't fly by yourself. You could get lost because of a bathroom.
I don't like your tone, Bill.
You're not supposed to.
He's doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Carrie's just telling you. Brooke is just telling you what I told you. You're a grown man. You can do these things. I think you're just throwing tacks in the road. Is what you're doing. You're trying to.
He doesn't like to do things.
The deal. Second, y'all are talking about the 600-pound life, and I used to be big, like embarrassing big, and I've lost 115 pounds. Those shows make me want to punch a hole in a wall or the television. Because guess what? I want to eat whole pizzas every single moment of my
She would have had to have punched a hole in the wall just to get out.
Yeah.
Then
Life
there's Poundcake
too.
on the other side laughing.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want to be laying in the back of a van on my belly, having to go see Dr. Now and have him tell me that my body stinks. Oh my God, it makes me so mad. Okay, I feel better. I vented. Love you guys. Hate the show. Bye.
Man.
My daughter.
That's how he would have laughed at Brooke had he seen her. Boy, congrats, 115 pounds.
That's going into the handicap bathroom at the airport.
Hey, you went into the family bathroom. Yeah, I know. It's literally only one person. I'm like, whoa.
The story that people keep sending me, and I gotta say, man, I'm siding with the doctor on this one. I don't get what the big deal is. This guy that burned his initials in the livers of the people he was operating on. Did you see the story?
Branding?
So this guy in the UK, this renowned surgeon in the United Kingdom, a guy named Simon Bramhall. A more British name you'd be hard-pressed to find. But he was a celebrated surgeon, and they're saying that he will no longer be able to practice medicine in the UK. There's got to be a way to punish people or something, like just removing good people from what they do because anyway. This guy was monogramming people's livers when he was working on them. He used something that stops livers from bleeding during operations, something that you would cauterize, that you would use in surgery. And he was using them specifically on 2 patients to put his initials onto the transplanted livers of them. Now, these don't harm the person. They're not physically harmful, and they usually disappear. One of the patients only discovered this because the liver didn't heal normally after the transplant. So another doctor goes in, sees the guy's initials. He burned an SB on the liver. And so that's the only reason that they found out about this. And so obviously the patient, he had to pay all these fines and he had to plead guilty to
what?
Assault charges,
Oh, man.
right?
Scooter Braun owns his masters too.
Well, and of course, the patients were like, I've endured emotional harm. It's like literally it does not hurt you at all. Now, it's a wild thing to do.
Well, it's also a breach of trust. You have somebody
But
in there.
is it?
Yes.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't
He
tell
did do
them he
something
was
wrong.
going to do that. I guarantee he did not put that in the, hey, this is the procedure, sign off on it,
That is a-
briefing.
yeah.
No, of course not.
So that's not doing what you're
But the
supposed to do.
man's an artist.
It's a
And
lie.
he's
That's
not an
signing
art.
his work.
No,
He didn't lie.
No, he's a doctor.
Lying by omission.
He's not an artist. And now, if he was
If you're making
artist,
sandwiches, you can be an artist, but you're a doctor.
they
This is
got
a guy.
rid of that though because I was taking. I'm the reason they got rid of
'Cause
sandwich artists
All of
because
Subway?
I would. Yeah,
He was
'cause I
initialing at the bread.
I was having all sorts of different visions and ways of doing sandwiches that were a little
Unorthodox.
Non-traditional,
yeah,
yeah.
non-traditional and orthodox, whatever. Putting the meat outside the bread, whatever. and they said we
Bread
can't
in the
keep
middle,
doing
though.
this. Yeah,
Putting the meat outside the bread.
Was it good?
This guy was putting
it's not about whether it's good or not. It's about is it art, and it was art.
This guy's putting SBs on people's livers. Bill was putting BSs in people's
So it's
meat
like-
bread sandwiches.
It goes mayonnaise, meat, and then bread, and
No,
then
no,
more
the mayonnaise,
meat.
the mayonnaise and the meat, with the mayonnaise and the.
Put it in order, top to bottom.
Okay, so it goes
Meat?
meat, but like I would wrap it around.
Oh, so it's not
But
like
I
a
have
sandwich.
so I'd have to put like the lettuce and tomato and onion and all that stuff
On the
inside
bread.
inside the bread.
Okay.
With all the condiments, and then you wrap it.
In meat.
Yeah, it was a meat wrap
It's like
sandwich.
a beef Wellington. Oh, no, that's the opposite.
Yeah,
But why
It's a
would you do
reverse
that?
beef Wellington.
But why would you do
inspiration.
Because he's
Just
an artist.
something happens, you go, what if we did this? I was a madman behind that counter, just having all sorts of different ideas. And people say, I want this. And I go, give me 35 minutes. I'll have it right now.
that? 35 minutes, you're going to have an amazing sandwich.
How'd you do it with tuna fish?
Well, with
He
tuna
couldn't
fish,
do it with tuna fish.
I want to do
You don't
that
know
with
that.
tuna fish.
Wrap it in ham?
No, because that takes away from the integrity of the sandwich
I don't know. I'm just
and the
asking.
integrity of who I am as an artist.
Right. It has to be
So,
structurally sound, too.
Right.
Yeah, so the way I would do tuna fish is I'd put it in a separate container and then just give them a regular piece of bread and just everything. Like it was a deconstructed sandwich.
Make it yourself.
Yeah, deconstructed tuna fish.
And you know how when people go to Subway, they go there specifically for the cutting edge of food art.
Yes.
They called the sandwich artist. I made sandwich art. Then they changed it.
I'm on this doctor's side. I'm sorry.
So it's-
he had a
Of
lame.
course you are.
He had a lame defense. He said that it was to relieve tension after a long surgery.
Don't use that on my body.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do anything to
I
you.
But he
don't
didn't get
care.
permission to do it. If you spit on my shoulder, that doesn't do anything
doesn't
to
do-
my body. But I didn't give you permission to spit on me.
Yeah, but I'm
doesn't
not.
hurt
But
you.
I'm not a. Man, this guy is like a skillful surgeon. He knows what he's doing. You need this guy to open you up. If he goes, "Hey, can I put my?" He didn't ask, obviously, but
That's the point. It's all about consent. Because I bet if he said, "Hey, do you mind if I carve my initials in there? It doesn't hurt you, and it will go away."
I'd say
I'd be like,
hell
"Have at it,
yes.
man.
Go ahead.
Take a picture, tag me. I don't care.
So
That
it's
would be
only because he didn't ask.
Yes. If he told them and they signed off on it, then there's nothing wrong.
Well, they had all this hoo-ha about how he brought disrepute to the profession and blah, blah, blah.
Malpractice insurance. They're about to get that money.
This guy's an artist. So he put his initials on somebody's liver.
But again, you have to get that consent. That's the main
It's
thing.
all about consent.
But they're knocked out.
You get it beforehand, dummy.
Yeah,
You
it
sound a
sounds
lot
like
like Cosby right
sounds
now.
like
How am I supposed to get consent if she's asleep?
It sounds like a loophole right there. Wait a second. Maybe Cosby is in it.
on.
What?
Now who are we siding with?
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to rethink this whole thing.
I need to see those flight logs, to be honest with you.
raping?
Flight logs.
AC flight log, you on there? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, who's doing the raping?
These people are not animals. You shouldn't be branding their livers.
Right.
I'm not saying he should be, but should he be removed from a service as a skilled surgeon?
What else is he doing in there?
People who are that good, it's like Alec Baldwin in that movie Malice. I love playing that clip where he's like, I am God. You know? These people have skills far beyond what anyone can comprehend.
Then he shouldn't be
Abusing
doing
his
stuff.
power.
Yeah.
You can make that case.
right. And
But
that's the
should
case
they
they've made.
remove everything because of this? It's I
I'm
guarantee
sure he can
it's
apply
just
for reinstatement.
It's just because he opened the hospital up to lawsuits. They don't care about these people's livers.
Well,
all
no,
about
there's
litigation.
No harm
But it
done to the
it-
liver.
Right, but it does open the hospital to lawsuits, and that is a huge thing. Because it's not like he's going to have to pay out of his pocket. They're going to have to pay.
Alan, were they still doing the V-cut bread when Bill was making these sandwiches?
So when I first started there, they were doing the V cut, and then they transitioned to the new cut, and it was a whole ordeal.
yeah.
I'm
Anarchy?
serious.
Bread anarchy?
I'm serious because they told us to start doing the new cut, and we started doing it, and the customers are like, what is happening to the bread right now?
That's why they
And
had to do
we're-
that transition where they would do both, right? Yeah.
So we had to ask, traditional or like
Or canoe-shaped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just would say, do you want the new cut or the old cut? And they'd let us know what they wanted.
I didn't like it at first either just because it was different. But then you go, why did they ever do the gouge cut on that
It
bread?
was never good.
Because when I was in college, there was a Subway across the street. So most of my diet in college was Subway. And they did that top cut where they basically gouged a strip out
it,
of the
yeah.
top of bread and then they'd pile everything. I'm like,
It
this
never made
can't-
sense. It
No,
was a bad cut.
Yeah, they were looking
I
for
was-
like
I
their own
was-
hook, but
I mean, as wild as I was as a sandwich artist, I still preferred the center cut versus the V cut.
people suggest, did you wrap the tuna in bologna?
I mean, I did a lot
He
of things.
just said
man.
he didn't do tuna.
Well, I did tuna, but I did deconstructed tuna, where the mayonnaise wasn't even mixed in with the tuna yet.
He just gave them a fish.
Deconstructed tuna.
Yeah, he gave him a whole fish and
Yeah.
said, "What are you going to do with it?
He said, teach a man to fish.
Here's some fish and some flour.
Figure it out."
You'll know what to do.
Right.
Jesus Christ over here.
Huh.
Fish and bread.
Well, that was the BMT, right? It was bologna, macaroni, and tuna. That's what I always got.
Sometimes I'd make it that way. Sometimes it was mutton.
I thought it was mussels.
I would always switch out the M.
I used to go and I would get a foot-long fish stick on wheat. And, man, it was like mustard, a couple of sprigs of rosemary, and this was a very hoity-toity Subway that we went to.
Told you it was rosemary.
Yeah. And so were you, during that time, Bill, were you derided as a madman? Were you finally ejected from that store? But you had to have
I left over creative differences.
You had to have had your fans,
walked away.
though.
I did, but there's you're never appreciated in your time. So now they're raving about what I would do, but back then they're like, this is just not the Subway.
Like, do you want the Squire cut? And they're like, what's the Squire cut? They're like, that's when we just throw the meat in your mouth and you have to catch it. Mm-hmm.
There's actually no cutting involved. Was it safe to say that at that time, Bill, you would have been considered the Van Gogh of the Subway sandwich?
That was more than Da Vinci.
Sandwich restaurants? Yeah. Oh, all right.
That's how I thought of myself. I was very innovative.
When you worked there, did they still have these literal Subway route wallpaper on that old-timey? Yeah. That was their motif for like 20 years.
To tie it into what we were talking about yesterday, do you know what was on that? Was the boroughs of New York.
The what?
Was on the wallpaper in Subway. That was like the subway system was all through the boroughs of New York.
I thought you said Bros of New York.
Yeah, it was that Jersey Shore spinoff, Bros of New York.
Bros of New York.
They all worked in a Subway.
There was Floribama Shore. There was Bros of New York.